This is When You Were Everything, chapter Priceless People, pages 117 to 121. Priceless People. When I get home, my mom is waiting up for me. She calls me into her bedroom and grills or asks me about school and why I didn't come home right away. I settle on the bed beside her to tell her about tutoring. She's instantly less angry, maybe even impressed. Well, I asked you to take an active interest in your future, and you really came through. She grips my chin and wiggles my head a little, and that small gesture warms me to her. I know you have it in you. That's why it drives me so crazy any time you do something that doesn't live up to your potential. She takes a deep breath and sits up a little straighter. I had a long talk with your father, she says. I hold my breath, nervous about what she'll say next. I look through her dark window and listen to the growing and fading siren of an ambulance as it approaches and passes our building. Whenever she talks about Daddy, her eyes get so sad. He told me that you've been having a hard time at school because of something that happened between you and Layla. I study my fingers, the rings I'm wearing, and my chipped nail polish, instead of looking up at her. Yeah, we're not really friends anymore, I say simply. I somehow manage to keep most of the pain and rage out of my voice, and I don't really want to get into the details of why. I just want to move on with my life and get over it. But I can't when I'm going to have to tutor her, I suddenly realize. I can't erase someone who insists on writing all over my life in ink, and I feel that weight settle on my chest again. I feel powerless against the stars and how they continue to thrust Layla and me together. Mom puts her hand on one of my knees and I flare my nostrils to keep the onslaught of tears I feel building at bay. The gesture is so gentle and honest that it makes me want to call her Mommy, like I did when I was little, because even though we fight all the time, she can always tell when I'm close to crying. For a second, I want to tell her everything. I know what it's like, she says too softly, to lose your best friend. And her voice has a familiar darkness to it. I know she's talking about Daddy. Do you think it's worth it? I say a little hesitantly, because I haven't talked to Mom, really talked to her in forever. And this isn't even a question I've allowed myself to entertain inside my own head. She closes the laptop that had been open in her lap this whole time, so I know she's really listening. Do you think it's worth it to try to make things right? I was reading all this stuff over the weekend about apologies, friendship dissolution, shame, vulnerability, and it all seems so overwhelming, so overly complicated. She lets out a heavy sigh. You're a smart girl, Cleo, but sometimes you rely too much on your head instead of your heart. This may not be something a book will help you navigate. I hug my knees to my chest. Daddy said the same thing, I mutter. Mom nods. If you love someone, she says, it's always worth it to try. You only get a few truly priceless people in your lifetime. You should fight like hell to hold on to them. I'm a little surprised by her earnestness, by the passion rooted deep inside her voice. What about you and Daddy? I ask quickly, because I feel like we're connecting. I've tried having this conversation with her before, and she's shut me out, but I still want to know. Do you feel like you fought hard enough for him? Instantly, her eyes go flat, and I watch as all the doors inside her that fell open as we talked slam resolutely shut. She's not Mommy by the time I finished my question. By the time I know it's too late to take any of it back. She's Naomi Bell again, just like that. What happened between your father and me is different. But I do think making things right with Layla is possible if you're honest with her. I can tell our moment has passed, and I'm more disappointed than I would have expected to be. The lump in my throat has melted away, and I regret bringing up Daddy. I hurt her feelings, but sorry seems like the wrong thing to say. I stand up. I still have some homework to finish, I say. She blinks a few times and smooths a strand of her dark hair. Her eyes look naked without her ears look naked without shiny earrings dangling from the lobes. And I realize this is the first time in a while I've seen her at home, but not dressed for work. Of course, she says. She gestures at her laptop. I have some more work to get done, too. She calls out to me before I reach the door. But Cleo, she says. I turn to look back at her, thinking that I need to be more careful with how I ask people about the broken pieces inside them. I'm still here, if you need to talk, she says. In my dim bedroom, I'm more confused than ever. I don't know if trying to erase Layla is right, or even possible. I don't know if I want to be her friend again. I peer through the low light to my row of snow globes. Gigi gave me a new one every year for my birthday until she died. I hadn't turned 12 yet the summer she passed away, but when we were cleaning out her apartment, we found the 12th one, already wrapped and ready. I lift that one from the shelf now. It's full of a miniature London, with Shakespeare's Globe Theatre at its center. The following year, on my 13th birthday, I was nearly inconsolable until Layla showed up with a small wrapped box. When I opened it, I found a gorgeous snow globe encapsulating a new city I could dream of visiting one day. Layla promised we would fly there together as soon as our parents would let us. I pick up that one next. It's full of glitter instead of white pearls of fake snow. A tiny Eiffel Tower stands atop a metal miniature of the rest of the city of Paris. I love this snow globe because it has so much weight to it. I wish I could shrink and live inside the scene. I shake it, and as I watch the glitter float and shine, I imagine what it would be like to be honest with Layla, to tell her I'm sorry, and to hear her say that she is too. What if we were fated to fall apart, only to come back together again? I want to believe that we can both be forgiven, but I don't know if, like inhabiting the tiny Paris I hold in my hand, that's just another dream that will never come true.